So, as I've kindly been introduced, I am Tony, but before I get onto that, I have a question for you, and I want you to just take a moment and get the answer to this question in your mind. And now take another moment and ask yourself what you did to end that boredom. And with the person next to you, just share what that answer is. What did you do to end the boredom last time you experienced it? What did you do, Kev? You wrote some code. Me too, to be honest. Me too. I built this. We're predictable. We are predictable. Cool. Thank you very much. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question a little bit later on. But this is kind of the premise of our talk today. We're talking about a period of time when I found myself very, very bored. And you're going to find out exactly how bored I got, and you've seen the start of the output from that. So this is a talk called MIDI Birds. It's one of my many meanders in Maui Wonderland, and it's great to see you all here. I know I messaged a bunch of you online. Thank you for your recommendations. I went to, I forget where I went, but it was some nice Thai cuisine. Whoever recommended me the Thai restaurant, that was where I went for lunch today. It was really, really nice. I am Tony Edwards, and this is Dexter the cat, and this is Seagull Bob. And Seagull Bob is the namesake of my company. And during the period of time that we're going to be talking about today, we adopted Bob and got him to the point where he comes and lands on the bench next to us and eats his breakfast out of our hand. Because yes, we feed a seagull 3 times a day because they need 3 square meals. You can find me in all the usual places. If you want to find me on LinkedIn, take a quick snap of this and it will take you straight to the profile. The slides today are going to go by pretty quickly. So there's no references within the actual slides themselves. But if you Google me, you'll come to my blog and you'll be able to find a post there with everything referenced and all the jump off points that you need. So we've got 152 slides left to go. So let's get cracking. So what was that? That is what happens when you mix birdsong and MIDI together. And as I said, this happened during a period of personal enlightenment. It is a perfect example of the job that UI engineers in the room do day in, day out. And that is simply to make things appear and then disappear again. Quite simple. Now, I spoke to Kev last night at another meetup where we both were, and he said that if I came here today and did not show you folks code, I would literally be drop kicked off of the stage as a response, because you want code, code, code. So not only have we got the one section of code I normally include in this, I've extended it and put 2 and 3, and even one of those sections has been extended itself. So, first bit of code for the evening. There you go. That's all you're having. So, as you can see here, we are instantiating a new audience, and we're passing in a value of 1 because Kevin did volunteer and actually do some crowd participation. Now at this point I was supposed to explain this. This is called a class, folks. I don't know if you've come across them before. You'll notice that isAwesome is actually nullable, and that's because I'm not quite sure on you folks just yet. We're going to find out over this talk. So, back to our equation, birdsong and MIDI. If you are a visual person, you might prefer it as a Venn diagram. And this talk fits right at the intersection. And I'm fairly confident that this is the only thing at this intersection. It is this talk and one song on Bandcamp where somebody made a song out of birdsong. It's quite a weird song. I don't recommend going and finding it, to be perfectly honest. Stick with this as the thing at the intersection. If you do know of anything else though, do let me know after this talk is over. So let's look at the birds first. What's with all the birds? During the pandemic, I opted to sit out of it for a whole bunch of time. First off, it was 100 days. I switched myself off of the entire world. No news, no technology, no email, no nothing. I took it as an opportunity to take some time away from work. After 100 days, I popped my head up. Everyone was still banging on about COVID, so I took another 400 days off from the world. And during that time, I basically sat in the garden. I floated around here for months and months and months. After all, 500 days is a really long time to be floating around. All of the birds that we're dealing with were found in this garden. In the years since, obviously, since COVID ended, I've added a lot more recordings to it, but all of the effects that you're going to hear today from the keyboard do come from the garden. It was during that period, very early on, that I found the BirdNet app. I searched the Play Store, I found it, and this was an app that promised to be the easiest way to identify birds by song. And the reason why I wanted to identify them is that I realised that these birds are effectively having arguments over our head all day long. They're telling their neighbours where they are. This is my territory, go away. They're just having arguments. Now, this app records audio, and it does that and creates a spectrogram from that audio. You might be more familiar with like a waveform as when you see audio expressed digitally. This is the same thing, but done in a way that allows computers to analyze audio much more easily. The great thing about this app is that it's a university project, and it's nice to be feeding some data into an AI that isn't purposely built to eliminate all of our jobs. I feel good, I feel like a good citizen of the world to do this. It also gets you out in nature, which is really, really nice, and forces you into the moment. Now, there's a whole load of cool magic behind the scenes. Some of this might mean more to you than it does to me. But effectively, it takes the audio, analyzes the spectrogram, comes up with a bunch of probabilities for what species, and then puts it through an occurrence mask. Because if I'm recording an ostrich in West Cornwall, something's gone wrong. It's not. We don't have ostriches down there, by and large. You then get the prediction in your app, and the audio and the metadata, which you can say, yes, this is right, goes into this big data science project. If you want to know more about this, there's links to the right pages on my blog post. Okay. So with the app in place, all I needed were some subjects, hopefully before they fly away. And because it's an AI, it's important that we test the accuracy of the offering. So, that was me. You've already heard that one, and it got it right. It's a human. 1 for 1 at the moment. Okay, so let's see if the next one's any better. Oh no. Do you ever get a feeling that's going to be one of those days for the presentation? Okay, this should be a bunch of rooks. We don't have any sound effects. Would anybody volunteer to make the noise of a rook? Okay, so these sound like caw, caw, caw. There's an entire flock that visit our garden every morning. I promise you there is audio in there, okay? And it did identify it properly, which is nice. I think we can give that one a pass. This next one, I love. What I love about this is that A, it got it right, but B, this is a moment of my life that I managed to capture. This was the first lunch break for my girlfriend on her first day in a new job as part of her new career. Being Cornish, we went and sat down at the harbour and we had a pasty, because that's the rules. Any big life event, you have a pasty. And I like the fact that this app has allowed me to layer in this data onto that moment of our lives. I've got this recording. I was in Greece last week and I was walking down the street and there was jazz music playing from a little cafe and a little sparrow was on the roof and it pulled me out into the moment and I recorded it. and I have that lovely recording of a meandering walk around the back streets of Athens. It's really, really nice. It's nice to have those moments. It's a good example of using technology to pull us back into the moment. Now, this last one, the recording is pretty poor, so I need you to listen really carefully. I'll give you a little guide, but just listen really carefully to this one. That is not a heron, folks. We've got our first mistake of the evening. That is actually my neighbour shouting at his child. I have lots of recordings of this specific grey heron, but in fact, it's not a grey heron. It is the lesser spotted scouser. If this sample comes up later on, there is something that he has promised I make happen in order to use this recording, because I checked he was happy for me to tell the world about him shouting at his daughter. Okay, so hope that no one presses that key later on. Now, these are just some of the birds. I will say there is a real heron. There is a photograph of it. We opened our curtains in the morning, there's just a heron sat in the garden. Remember these names, folks. They're going to come in handy later on. So the songs of those birds accompanied every moment in my garden. Every butterfly that fluttered by from flower to flower. Every seed planted in the hope of future food. And every single talk that was written during that time. That one, I don't know what that one was. And all of this bird data was wrapped up in a JSON structure. Because I'm a geek, I took all the data out, wrapped it up. Now, for those of you who are the experienced software engineers, yes, I do know that there is a lot of data in here which could be derived, but I'm lazy and Copilot did this, so that's that. The data set we're using tonight for the rest of the demos is the first 25 birds detected in the garden, because there are 25 keys here, and I think it's the first maybe 550 recordings got into the data so far. We're up to about 650, but it's 550 that are in here from those sightings. I don't know, should it be sightings or hearings? I don't know, I haven't decided. This JSON file represents the community of birds on our doorstep. And during those 500 days, the birds were effectively my community. I just realised how crazy that sounds. Okay, I had other people in my life, it wasn't just birds, I'm not insane. But regardless, when all of the meetups and conferences disappeared, I didn't like the online stuff. So these birds, they did become my day-to-day community. Over this time, I began to question my relationship with technology. I'm sure it's true for many people in this room that we've spent a disproportionate amount of our lives sat in front of a screen of some sort. I've been making things with computers for 25 years, and prior to that, I was plonked in front of the TV, so I would shut up. That's almost 40 years of screen time. And I started to ask myself a question. Is technology a problem? And that led me on to the question we started with. When was I last bored? I kept coming back to this point. Momentarily, quite often. That's why social media exists, right? It zaps up all of our boredom. And my form of wonky brain gets really bored really quickly. But for a long period, it's probably been decades. So I thought I would get bored. But of course, I procrastinated on being bored and asked myself, what is boredom? That's the question I needed to ask. And during this time, I read this amazing book by Elizabeth Goodstein. And this is a book about boredom in German and French literature from the medieval age to today. And if ever you want to be bored, this is the book for you. This isn't actually a quote from the book. This is 2 points she made within a paragraph of each other. But I liked it, pieced it together and I liked it. But I think there's something missing. Engaging stimulation. Okay? Think about TV. You can watch your partner's choice of TV and be really, really bored. But if you put on your favourite TV show, you're not bored at all. And I can tell by your faces which one of you don't actually like your partner's TV. You can be stimulated in theory, but not in reality. You can be surrounded by things going on, but still be bored. And this was a Slavic fairy tale. Of course, being a fairy tale, it involves a frog and a peasant. And it's a fairy tale about this princess who was, in today's language, we would say depressed, but back then, she was trying to be married off. And the first person who would come to her and could make her smile would get her hand in marriage. Now, of course, she found the right person in the end and lived happily forever ever after. But this made me think, what was it about all of those people that couldn't give her the right stimulation? I mean, they look like a pretty fun bunch to me. Apart from him, he's got the beard of an evil person. But everyone else there, I think they're quite fun. Is technology offering us the right stimulation? So I asked Google, how long can people be bored? And it gave me this answer. 3 months to 2 years. It's quite a long time to get bored, I thought. And then I read the rest of it. Now, at this point in time, I had loads of Google smart speakers around my house. And I'm wondering if they knew something that I didn't. I don't know. Apparently they don't use that data for search, but yeah, who knows. But regardless, I did find some good sources. Now, letting your mind wander and allowing yourself to have moments of boredom, people find surprisingly enjoyable once they get used to it. Some people would even call it meditation. It's great fun, just like putting a spark back in a relationship. So I'm going to ask again, what did you do to end that boredom? Hands up if your answer involved some form of technology. I know mine did. Okay, that's about normal, I would find. Power to those of you who it wasn't. Nice one. But what if there's no technology? This was the question I was answering for. A topic for a proper ponder. What do you do in today's world when our base needs are met, but you don't use technology? Now, the Stoics have been a part of my life ever since I was about 3 hours old. My gran started reading meditations to me at that point. And lockdown felt like a good reason to spend some more time with them. So I did that. And a lot of Stoicism encourages you to search within and take lessons from the ancients. Speaking of search, every database app nowadays needs search, and Maui makes that pretty easy. Did you like that segue? It was good, wasn't it? I like that. I'm pretty proud of that one. This is how you incorporate search into a Maui app. You've got a lovely little search bar control, and that gives you a load of add-ons and helpers that will make creating a search interface easy. And there is actually one in this app as well. So if you download it and you play around with it, you'll be able to do this. So yeah, you type stuff in, the results filter, and then something happens based on it. I mean, we've all lived in the 21st century, right? We know what search is. So I'm not going to go on too much. But it's really, really easy to add it into a Maui app thanks to this. So search within Maui isn't a challenge. But I did need a challenge at this point. That was code section number 2, by the way, if you count it. I did need a challenge. I needed an epic challenge, something that brings all of this stuff I had done throughout lockdown into a work skill. I like using my hobbies as excuses to learn something new. So I pondered long and hard, day and night, and turned the TV off. That is very fitting given the subject of the talk. The thing I came to was that I would build a Maui app. And the app that you've seen so far is that app. This was a way to upskill. Maui was the hot new thing at the time. It was terrible at the time that I started doing this, but it's got a lot better in the time since. So knowing I wanted to build a Maui app, and I had all of this bird data, I pondered long and hard about what it was I could build. And I'm going to keep padding this bit out until the next bit comes up, because it's the slide that I need where it reveals what it was I built and the natural conclusion I came to, which was to build family fortunes, or if you're Belgian, familiarad. Who here knows what family fortunes is? Cool. 2 of you know what's coming. The rest of you, this is going to be a surprise. Family Fortunes is a game where you guess the top 5 answers, or 6 or 7 answers, after a poll of 100 people. So I created that. Now, I'm going to need 2 volunteers to help me press the buttons up here, and I believe I've already got our stunt volunteers. Don't pretend like you don't know who you are. That's you 2. So in a second, I'll ask you to come up. And I also need to split you into teams because you will need help from your teams, okay? So we're going to call you Team A, and you, this side's going to be Team B, and you're going to be on Team B, okay? Team B, Team A, okay? And you're on the right side of the table for representative. But before we drag you up, given the talk topic, should we outside our scoring system to a boring computer, or should we do something a little bit more fun and add in a little moment that we'll all remember for our scoring system? So who here wants to do the boring computer-based scoring system? Fantastic. I think Kevin's heart has just sank. And hands up here who wants to do the exciting human fun-based scoring system. Great, that's nice. Okay, so I'm going to prep Kevin first. So our scoring system tonight is a lovely body-mounted target. And if you 2 have ever wanted to throw things at Kev, tonight's your night. I'm going to give you 4 balls each. There you go. If you wouldn't mind donning that and facing the camera so they can get a good view of you. And if 2 volunteers would like to come up, and we're gonna, oh, this is Dexter. Again, he's doing a little cat. There was a trend online for cats sitting in certain poses, and this was me trying to recreate it, but he didn't like it. He is an indoor cat, but I take him out for walks, because I'm like that. Right, so let's get the game up.
Is that the Steve Harvey one?
Yeah, Steve Harvey does the American version. Cool. Family Feud, yeah?
There you go.
Family Feud if you like American TV. So we've got 2 teams. I'm going to ask you to come over onto this side. So in a second, I'm going to ask you a question. Team A, you are going to press this key. Team B, you are going to press this key when you think you know the answer, okay? You will need 4 balls each to decide your scores. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Fingers on buzzers, please. When asked to self-identify, what was the top-sighted bird in my garden? Yes.
Seagull.
A seagull. That's a good answer. It is on there. It is only the 5th answer, though. At this point, I should swap teams and ask you. So,
Okay.
can you guess one which is higher than a seagull?
Okay.
You can ask your team for help if you need to.
Answers.
Wood pigeon.
That one.
A wood pigeon. Right, now I've got no way to swap you over, so you actually have to lose a go for that. A wood pigeon is 4th highest, which means you're in control of the game and you get to throw a ball at Kevin first. So there you go. Oh, hold on. Oh, no. Oh, no. This is, you've got to hit the target. And I think, you know, we need to think of Kevin. He earns his living through his brain. So we've got to protect the brain. So I've bought some padding for you, Kevin.
Awesome.
Did you see the look on his face when that came up? Again, look at the camera for full effect. And it's only fair that I make a fool out of myself as well. So I'm going to look like a game show host, and you get to throw another ball.
Great. You've got 40.
40. Remember that. Now you get another guess now. So can you guess another bird? Your team can help.
Please help. Robin. Robin. That one?
You go. A robin?
Oh, let's go for it.
That's a good guess. You get another ball. Well done.
Remember to hit the board again.
I'll try to.
10.
10. Nice. And you get another go now. Yeah, what bird would you like to guess? You've got 2 left.
2.
Both names have been in the presentation so far. If not, think of a common bird.
Ooh,
One I found in Greece. Sparrow. Top answer, 76. You get another ball. You seem very happy to be throwing things.
oh wait, I need this.
8.
80.
Is that 8?
Nice. And final go. You get one more.
2.
There's one more to get. I'm going to have to hurry you.
The thing that looks like a robin, but I can't remember his name.
No, we're throwing it over. Now, this is your opportunity to throw things at Kevin. So, you get one guess. I'll give you a clue. Begins with a D. And you can ask your team. A dunnock. Good guess. Team B, you didn't win. We did win, but you didn't get 139 points. I need you to count those up really quickly. So 40,
80, 120, 100, and 130.
130. Remember that. Now's your chance to throw things. You can come a little bit closer. We don't want you to be at a disadvantage.
How many can I throw?
How many do you want to throw? Yeah, I mean, why not? 40.
3.
Nice. You seem to really want to throw them, so we'll let that go. You got 40 points though. So you need to remember 40 and you need to remember 130. Thank you very much. Give these two gentlemen a round of applause. Bet you'll be glad to get that off, won't you?
Oh, that's pretty good actually. Nice to hear.
So welcome back. Do any of you watch The Repair Shop on BBC? No? Okay. I stole this cat from one of the people on there. He likes living with us more than him. So who am I to argue? So we've looked at birds now, and we've thrown things at Kev. That means that we can now move on to the other half of our Venn diagram, which is to look at MIDI. Now, MIDI got into this because I got into computers because I liked music. I was a bit of a pain in the backside at school, and I effectively got locked into the recording studio at school and told not to come out until the bell went. I really enjoy working with this technology. I'm sure most of you know what MIDI is, but just in case you don't, it's an interface for passing around data. That's all it is. Okay? It's been around since the early 80s, and it was invented by Roland. And for those of you of a certain age, no, not Roland Rat, Roland, the keyboard manufacturer. Out of interest, how many of you actually remember Roland Rat? Okay. I got a feeling some of you didn't want to admit to that. Roland released the first controller, and this moment in time democratized music. No longer do you need an entire room of equipment and expensive instruments to make music. You just need a £2,000 controller and a £10,000 computer. I'm not sure how democratized that is, but it changed music. And certainly over the years, it's got to the point where you can use a £40 controller and a £100 laptop. That's all you need nowadays to make some form of music. Now, within the MIDI message, we have three things. It is the state, the key, and the velocity. And when we're passing it around, this would be to turn on keyboard, turn on keyboard, key 48, really gently. So 1 to 127 velocity. That's it. Now, if you're an expert in MIDI, there is actually a lot more to it. But for most applications, and certainly if you're using this in software to do basic things like this is all we're playing with today. Your musical instruments, though, don't actually need to look like keyboards. They can come in a whole variety of shapes and sizes. This is quite a cool one. It's a pad that you add other pads on top of to make it into different types of instruments. I'm not quite sure. I mean, this looks a bit Star Trek-y to me. Got a lovely ring. This is quite a cool one, and you make music by tilting your hand and tapping it. That's quite cool. A little pad boy. This isn't actually a musical instrument, but does use MIDI in order to control games. And this is a MIDI flute. I don't know what the actual name of the instrument is. Personally, I wouldn't be too keen to blow into an electronic instrument. It feels like an easy way to get electrocuted. But that's not all, folks. Not only can you invest thousands of pounds into these musical instruments, not only can you get your usage of it tracked by Google if you're doing this within a web browser, but if you've been to a theatre or you've seen a musical show, all of those lights, they were controlled by something called DMX. And that is a derivative of MIDI. Okay? Works in a very similar way. And that's true for a lot of audio-visual technology, including Tesla coils. I always find it amazing that any piece of music played on a Tesla coil sounds Russian. It's an amazing ability. Now, if you want to do this within .NET, managed MIDI is probably your go-to package. Okay, this has everything you need within it in order to do anything you might want with MIDI. It's really, really good. And the first version of this app actually used it. And that worked. It was fine. My app was wobbling along. It was working. But then Maui hit. And if any of you have worked with Maui, you'll know it does quite often. You'll notice that these are lights. Okay, if you're up close, you can see that we've got some lights on there, and I'm using these to control the games. Okay, it tells me what's been pressed and what's not been pressed. The Maui implementation, or rather the layer underneath Maui, the Mac iOS.NET package, doesn't implement part of the MIDI standard. And that means that you can't send an output message. And it's sending a MIDI message is how we're turning these lights on. Same goes for DMX and those other systems. But this is where native library interop comes in. It allows you to quickly implement platform level features in platform code and utilize that within your Maui application. And it is pretty cool. It's designed to wrap around packages. So if you've got an existing Android app and it uses a package that there isn't a .NET version of, you can write a wrapper around it. This is the bit that doesn't have the whole .NET MIDI standard implemented. So I wrote a lovely little project to go around it. Okay, ChatGPT wrote a lovely MIDI project, and I dealt with this bit. And to be honest, that's a good use of vibe coding. I don't need to know how to do MIDI in Xcode within Swift. I don't care about that. Outsource that to AI. This though, my clients pay me for. And that's a great way to slot some vibe coding and AI into our projects. Now, if in this case, we've got something like this. This would be it at a Swift level. Now, there's a load of stuff happening here, but this is the thing that is not implemented within that Mac iOS framework. And it's just passing in an array of numbers. I'm not quite sure why they didn't. I mean, AI did it in seconds. You then wrap that up in an interface, and this is the layer that IL uses, which comes from Xamarin. If you have heard of that, that's from Xamarin, and this sits in between those two packages and effectively links up those two layers of code. And as you can see, this is our extended section of code. We extended it right off the screen, and it's just a comment there. I don't quite know which bit does what, but it works. We can then use this within our app like this. And this is just sending in an array of bytes to switch key 47 off with no velocity. Simple. Okay. Now you imagine this was actually something useful. This might be calling an analytics package, for example. It might be calling a charting library, something that there isn't a .NET library for, but there is an Android or an iOS library. Now, with the challenge of switching the lights on overcome, I thought I needed another challenge. I need something else to build. I need something to show off these lights and something to pad out a talk if there's enough time left. Okay, we've got a bit more time to pad out, folks. So, with our proof of concept of family fortunes working, we've got that in the bag. I pondered what to build, and again, I thought about it for day and night, long and hard, and I came to the natural conclusion. I'm going to build a Maui version of Play Your Cards Right. Now, does anyone remember this one? We got one person who remembers Play Your Cards Right. Fantastic. Thank God I cut out the instructions last night. Play Your Cards Right is effectively guessing whether one card is higher or lower. And in this case, it's going to be bird sightings, okay? So a bird will pop up, it'll say how many sightings there are, and then the next one will come up and you've got to guess whether it's higher or lower. Rather, you two have got to guess whether it's higher or lower. Of course, your team are going to shout at you higher or lower if they think what it is. Kev? Our scoring system. You thought you got out of it that easy? No, there's more. There you go. And remember your protection. You do have to wear that again. I know you're really happy about that. And if I could get our team representatives up. I did actually think, I was relieved last night when I saw that you had. Okay, game show mode. So play your birds right. Okay, so in a second we'll reveal one of these cards after we've decided which team's going to come, and then you've got to guess whether this one is higher or lower, and then this one's higher or lower. Okay, does that make sense? Cool. All right, so to decide which team goes first, and we'll ask Team A first. We're looking for a number between 1 and 100, a percentage, okay? In 2023, the common seagull entered the endangered list as a red label species. That's one of the most endangered, most declining species there are. But by what percentage did the seagull population fall in the 20 years leading up to that point? Whatever you want, I just need a number.
20.
20. Okay. I like that guess. I mean, would higher or lower, do you think?
I'm definitely saying higher.
You're definitely saying higher. That's a smart guess. That means that you are number 1 to play, and you've got a grey heron, which is number 1. There's only one sighting of a grey heron.
Okay.
So, I would like you to press one of these keys, one long, hard, confident press, please. Long tail. That should have stopped. Do you think there's a higher or lower number of long-tailed tits in our garden than compared to a heron? Team, you can shout out higher or lower.
I'll say higher too.
The enthusiasm in the room, I like it. Higher, you reckon?
Yeah.
So we say higher. Well done, 19. You can reveal the next bird. Collared dove. Oh. This one, it was. Gosh, shut up, bird.
Let's do it higher.
Higher, you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it.
I like your confidence. 26.
No, go on.
I don't know whether the next one's going to work until that bird shuts up. We could try. Press a key. You've already selected that one. Any key. Press any key. Herring goal. Another one that's already come up. That's a good one to get.
Okay. If it's gambling, it's like blackjack, was they go lower?
Higher.
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 Higher. Let's do it higher.
I feel like
Consensus.
you're bringing all the energy for your team. I like it.
Consensus.
No, unfortunately not. That means you are in the game. So, one long confident press of any of the keys. A tawny owl. Higher or lower number of tawny owls than robins? Lower. It's very smart, very strategic guess. 3. I'm slightly worried because I don't think that's the right number. I don't think that's the right number. We're going to see what goes on though. And pick another bird. Yeah, press a key. Buzzard. That's a good one. Higher or lower? Come on, team, help them out. Higher or lower? Higher. Only just. Press another one. But not that one. A goldfinch. Higher? I'm not supposed to be helping them out.
What?
Nothing. 11. Good guess. Pick another bird. This could be the winning one. A jackdaw. Oh, higher or lower? Oh, we're split amongst the team. You're going higher.
Oh, yeah.
Team A wins. Well done. So you've got 2 balls to throw.
Okay.
Don't worry, I didn't forget.
Bring some point back.
That's it.
That's
Not those points. Not those points.
Oh, how about a jackpot?
No. That's the one. Nice. And you can throw another one because you didn't get the board.
Is that 100? 110?
110. Add that onto the number that you've hopefully remembered from before.
30, that was.
Oh, 80, 100, 90, 100.
Is that 2 100? That's the kind of.
Oh, we'll take that as a 60. 100, a 90, 100, a 60, and an 80. Add that onto your previous one. Didn't know there'd be math, did you?
What was that? 320? Yeah, I don't know what we had before. 330.
I like how they're all working as a team to do this word. I like. While we're here, because we haven't got too much time left, we'll play the next game, which is Wheel of Feathers. Okay, that should be a wheel. It's not a wheel. We'll see how this goes. So in a second, I'm going to reveal the game board, and a well-known bird phrase, if there is such a thing, is going to pop up. Okay. Now for this one, we need a third team potentially because it's a 3-player game. So Kev, you actually might get to throw things at yourself this time. Let's reveal the board. See, it is a wheel. You all doubted it. You all doubted it. And thank you to Sean Lawrence for the wheel. He very kindly donated that to this project. So, Team A, would you like to guess a letter? Any letter that isn't a vowel.
Not a vowel.
Not a vowel.
S. Yeah.
Nice. Another letter.
R. Yeah.
Nice. Another letter.
T.
C. Nice. See, at this point, I've got sound effects into it. I was really showing off my skills. Another letter, unless you want to take a guess.
L.
An L. Yes.
So what is it? I'm guessing it is a bird phrase.
It is a well-known bird phrase, according to ChatGPT.
It's probably made up.
Probably. Another letter then?
U.
That's a vowel.
Not a vowel, not a vowel. Good. See? Oh, no. But you did get 1, 2, 3, 4, so you'll be pleased to know. You get 4 opportunities to throw things at Kevin. It's worth coming out tonight, wasn't it? 90, 30, 100, and 10. So 230. Check me showing off.
My
Team
turn.
2. Yep, so what letters
Anything
would you like?
H.
H. Yes.
Okay. And then the constant.
Yep.
Golf.
G.
Golf.
G.
Golf. Ah. Okay, Kev, you are technically player null.
Excellent.
Go coding skills, I like it. You did get 1 right though, so
One throw.
yeah, 1 throw.
Jackpot.
Not that jackpot, remember we spoke about this.
90.
90. What letter would you like, Kevin?
Uh,
Common bird-based phrase.
I have no idea. I'll go to B or something.
Another letter? You can take a guess?
I.
No vowels.
Sorry, yeah, sorry.
B.
Papa.
B, so we've had a B.
No, Papa.
So-
Papa.
Bob.
Name
P.
the alphabet. Papa.
No! But you did get 1 right, so I don't know how this is going to work. I've never got this far in the game before. Nice. 20, I like it. So, Team A.
D.
D, good guess, good guess. It takes people quite a long time to realise that there's always bird in the phrase. Another guess?
N.
2.
W. Yeah.
W. Do we think we've got it, do we?
Okay.
So you can take a guess if you want.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
2 kill birds. Okay. I really should have coded in a reveal button. Well done. Don't go yet. You've got 1 more round of throwing. We've committed to this. This is the last one. 100. 90. 100. 70, I reckon. And 40. Do you play darts?
No.
I think you should start. I think you should start. So add those onto the number that you probably can't remember from before. You can both take your seats. Round of applause for all our volunteers. Gets surprisingly hot in a nylon gold jacket. So, you'll be pleased to know that is the last demo. And as a reward, you get to see a cute little cat. This is not Dexter bored. He's just having a nap and a little stroke, okay? So, Kev's had a hard time tonight. So I'm going to give...
That looks like he did. What's with his ear?
So he climbed underneath a kitchen cupboard when he was younger and got it caught in a slider. I think he's just, because he's from Cornwall, he thinks he's a pirate cat. I want to put like a little ring on it or something. So half of the organising team have had a problem today in being this, so I'm going to give Andy a hard time and start moving about a little bit more. So we've looked at birds so far, and for better or worse, we've included MIDI in that, and we have dove into this intersection. Oh, okay. The message, because every talk nowadays does need one, especially one like this. And I guess I encourage you to connect with the natural cycle around you. It's really, really heartwarming and fulfilling. And I guess there's some nice open spaces in Sheffield that haven't yet been bulldozed by the BBC. Second is to use your hobbies as an excuse to upskill. This all came around because I found a way to incorporate some upskilling that I needed to do with some data that I had collected. You don't have to have data, but chances are there's something you could use as an excuse. And I guess the biggest message is to let yourself be bored, I guess. Because after all, So, with all that said and the games played, all that's left to do is to set you two awesome, because you really, really were. You've been a great bunch tonight, thank you very much. But unfortunately, it is time to set you to null and allow you to be garbage collected. I have been Tony Edwards, and much like Dexter, this talk is now safely in the box. Thank you for coming tonight and for getting involved in the talk.
Give me your hands, show me the door. I cannot stand to wait anymore. Somebody said, be what you be. We could be old and cold and dead on the sea. But I love you more than words can say. Well, I can't count the reasons I should stay. Give me some warmth, time in a dream. Give me the hope to run out of steam. Somebody said it could be here. We could be roped up, tied up, dead in a year. I can't count the reasons I should stay. One by one, they all just fade away. I'm tired of the racy
Sound effects in case that they break. Jeep, 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 jeep. Caw, caw, caw. Caw, caw, caw. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.